So I don't think I'm out of line in thinking that this Evolution 2 PLE was probably one of the best PLEs from this entire calendar year that WWE has given us. I think the only other PLE that I would put up there as far as, I guess, same category and everything would be the Elimination Chamber PLE from earlier this year. But I'm talking like as far as like wrestling from top to bottom, I think this Evolution PLE, going into it, obviously the build wasn't as great as it could have been. Obviously there were things that were working against it, but I think going forward into this actual PLE, I think nobody really doubted the fact that these women were going to perform here and were going to give it their all and go crazy as far as the matches go. But I think they over exceeded the expectations that they were given as far as what this Evolution 2 PLE was going to consist of. But I think from top to bottom, I think this was an enjoyable show. The crowd was super red hot. We kicked everything off here with the triple threat match, which was Becky Lynch against Bayley against Lyra Valkyria. They started this match off hot. It was really fast paced. The crowd was into it. Like I said, really super red hot crowd. Becky Lynch got the win, as I kind of suspected she would. So like I said, going forward, I don't really know. As far as the direction goes, I don't know if we do this match once again at SummerSlam. I don't know if we do a straight singles match, Becky Lynch against Lyra, Becky Lynch against Becky. But like I said, it was a hot crowd, it was a good outcome, and it was a great way to start off the show. Next, we had the NXT Women's Championship match, that being Jordynne Grace against Jacy Jayne. So me going into this match, I know very little of both women. I know Jordynne Grace obviously a little bit more, but the main takeaway here was the heel turn by Blake Monroe, aka Mariah May. I've heard rumblings that they wanted to turn her heel for a while. I think she suits more as a heel rather than a babyface. I think her, as her character is concerned, I think she probably fits more into that realm of the heelish type rather than a babyface. So I think that's a good call. Next, we move on to the women's fatal 4-way tag team match with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez picking up the win here. One thing that was very noticeable was the Charlotte Flair reactions that she's been getting as of late, because they even mentioned it on commentary like 3 months ago. Charlotte Flair was the most unlikable person on that entire roster. She would come out to like Dominic Mysterio levels of heat, but like it would be like 10 times worse. And now with this pairing with Alexa Bliss, it's almost like they have found something for Charlotte to do that has actually gotten over with everybody. So as far as that is concerned, I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the fact that she isn't consistently in the championship picture. I do believe eventually she and Alexa are going to win the tag team titles, but I think that'll be possibly down the road, maybe at SummerSlam, maybe at Clash in Paris. We also got Trish Stratus against Tiffany Stratton. I think this was a pretty good match. Obviously, this was here really only just to have Trish on the card, with Tiffany picking up the win here against Trish Stratus. Next, we had Jade Cargill against Naomi with Bianca Belair as the special guest referee. I think this was a better match than the WrestleMania match, simply due to the fact that this match was chaotic. They had table spots. They had Bianca Belair in there as well, kind of stirring up the drama as far as that is concerned. And Bianca Belair counted the 3 for Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill beat Naomi here, and what I suspected was going to be the outcome. I suspected this because I figured, Naomi, she's probably going to cash in against Jade Cargill at SummerSlam. That was my suspected thought that I, figured during this match. Little did I know that we were going to get her cash in right here to end off the show. But before we go into that, I want to mention the Women's Battle Royal, in which, a lot of people were suspecting somebody like a Paige, somebody like an AJ Lee. But unfortunately, there wasn't too many surprise appearances here as far as the Battle Royal is concerned. Obviously, you got your obligatory Nikki Bella return spot here. She was in this match. But like I said a few days ago on my predictions video, I predicted Stephanie Vaquero to be the early favorite to win this entire Battle Royal, and she obviously won this entire Battle Royal. So, she is going to Clash in Paris to potentially face the Women's World Champion, the Women's Raw World Champion, whoever that may be by that time, because next we had Rhea Ripley against Io Sky. So this match, they hammered throughout the entire presentation that Rhea Ripley has never beaten Io Sky in a straight singles one-on-one match. They highlighted instances in NXT, on Raw, on WrestleMania. They highlighted the fact that Rhea Ripley has never beaten Io Sky. So obviously somebody like me going into this, I'm thinking this is going to be the opportunity, this is going to be the match in which Rhea Ripley finally beats Io Sky and puts that hurdle behind her. To mention something about the match was excellent. The match was what you would expect out of Rhea and Io. There was a referee bump, they fought all around the crowd, there was near falls. Eventually it seems like we're nearing the end of this match when both women are down, and obviously the way they kind of frame the camera, you know that something like is just about to happen. And all of a sudden you hear Naomi's music, and Naomi rushes down to the ring, hands in her Money in the Bank contract to the official, and makes this match official. Now typically with the Money in the Bank cash in, you can kind of tell when somebody's legitimately going to cash in and when it's kind of a teased cash in. But this time, you know, it wasn't no games. This time Naomi straightforward cashed in, took out Rhea Ripley, pinned Io Sky. 1, 2, 3. Naomi is the new women's world heavyweight champion. I figured they kind of had to do something surprising to kind of alleviate what they did on Saturday night's main event. And obviously a lot of people were going to suspect that Naomi was going to cash in at SummerSlam against Tiffany or against Jade. That's what I would have thought. They definitely wanted to swerve us as far as who she was going to cash in on. Now what I am thinking now is like, what do we get as far as Raw is concerned? Because I can only lead to assume that Naomi is going to switch over to Raw and she's going to be the dominant heel on Raw. So what does that leave for Jade and Bianca? Does that mean Bianca is going to go heel? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of questions that come from Naomi now being the women's world champion over on Raw. So like I said, overall this was a very good PLE, a very solid PLE from top to bottom. I think, you know, if you compare this to Saturday night's main events that we got last night, it was like comparing a trash can to an elegant, you know, 3-course meal. Regardless, let me know what you guys thought down below, and until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.